Hello and welcome to Rotted Review of the Day, and today is the 20th day of our advent calendar of Christmas horror movies, and I felt like a fitting entry to this would be the 2010 film from Finland, Rare Exports. This has been a favorite of mine for a little while now. I watched it several years back, fell in love with it, and this is, I would say, the third or fourth time I've seen it now, and it's just a genuine treat. This is a movie with solid imagination more than anything else, and great characters to boot, with some pretty good performances that, it goes beyond just cheeky Christmas fun, like a lot of horror movies have fallen into the trap of, and actually brought some depth to the storyline and the characters while still having a twinkle in the eye, a sense of playfulness to it. So to get into more details of this one, let's get into the categories. As always, 4 different categories, each one worth up to 25 points for a total possible score of 100 points. The plot, I gave a 21 out of 25. This was really, really solid. This was set in a remote village out in Finland on the Russian border. And there is a mountain on the Russian side of the fence that is being excavated for purposes nefarious and slowly revealed. But basically what it amounts to is Santa Claus is believed to have been buried under there, and not the Coca-Cola Santa Claus, but the real historical pretty crazy character of Santa Claus. And on the Finland side of the fence is this remote village, and living there is, among other people, our main character of young boy, Pietari, and his father, Rano. And they were... As far as characters go, they were extraordinarily well written, and the chemistry between them is going to reflect both in the plot and in the acting categories. But I have a feeling one of the dynamics that made them work so well is the fact that they were actually played by father-son team of Omni Tomila and Jorma Tomila. And the interactions between them were not just well written, but well acted. I'll get into that. But regardless, they were really well done. But it's sometime after the excavations have happened. They're pretty annoyed by the blasting that's happened up on the hill, but it's been several days and things are quiet now. So while they go out and try and find a herd of reindeer to pen up and process, you get the idea that that is kind of their winter moneymaker, that this is what they live and breathe on. They are reindeer herders. They come and find a wild pack of them that ordinarily would have been their cash crop, and they have been decimated by an unknown entity near the border. And they go up to the mountain to investigate. They figure maybe the Russian wolves had been acting abnormally because of the blasting, and they wanted a word with the people excavating, and in that time they find it completely abandoned. Now, during all of this, Pietari is investigating his own theory about what's going on by reading historical books on Santa Claus, and how he walks in the snow barefoot, and if he judges a child to be naughty, then he'll kidnap them and replace them with a figurine of the child and lay that in the bed and take the child away. The more nefarious, evil parts of the Christmas backstory. So he is theorizing that Santa Claus is what is causing this, and when they happen to capture Santa Claus in a wolf trap, then the movie really kind of takes off from there as far as their interaction with him, trying to figure out what's going on, trying to figure out how to survive, considering that their winter herd budget is completely decimated. They can't make any money off the reindeer, but they still have to survive as a family somehow. And mixed in there with some neighbors that are in, pretty much the same boat. The movie takes off from there with how to survive on a budgetary standpoint, how to keep the family together, and what to do with this captured Santa Claus and what that even means. And that is far from the remainder of the story. That's just kind of the base where it takes off from at that point. And it continues to have twists and imagination and developments that are just joyful to watch unfold. And all told, I would say that the plot definitely deserves its 21 out of 25 points. Everything was really well fleshed out. The plot, it has a tempo to it that feels very untraditional from what we might be used to in American films. It definitely has a pacing that it can be a little disorienting, but at the same time, it flows well. If you're along for the ride, it does flow well, and it is worth sticking through. And the characters really, really make this, not just in how well they were performed, but how well they were written as well. So, yeah, 21 out of 25. The Intent, I gave a 22 out of 25. This was gruesome, as well as interesting and heartwarming and funny. I'm not going to say that it was necessarily that scary, but you felt for the characters, and you were worried for them. So, I mean, there was an investment that could have led to genuine fear. It's just not the route that this movie decided to take. And I have a feeling that was really a bit purposeful. This wasn't trying to be a scary movie. It just was trying to be a character-driven family story that had this sinister Santa Claus feel to it. It did get gruesome, it did get bloody, it did get down and dirty and grimy, but I don't think it was really trying for scary. But the thing that I think really set this movie apart and why The Intent worked as well as it did is this knew enough to treat the source material, as in the plot that they wrote, with reverence. Yes, they were dealing with a captured Santa Claus. And although it definitely had that twinkle in the eye, that playfulness to it, it treated the material seriously, with serious ramifications and serious character interactions, and everything felt very natural, organic, and real. So yeah, it was occasionally silly, as real life is, but it was also very down to earth, and I really, really loved that aspect to this movie, and I think it really served well as far as bringing me into the storyline and keeping me there. So yeah, 22 out of 25 for The Intent. I really, really think that it pulled off exactly what it was going for very, very well. The acting, I gave a 20 out of 25. Piatelli and his father Rano, again played by Omni and Jorma Tomala, I thought did a fantastic job. The frustration that they had with one another, Jorma wanting to, or Rano wanting to keep Piatelli safe, while still not believing him because, hey, who's going to believe a kid about Santa Claus? Piatelli wanting to help with the situation, but being impotent to do so, being frustrated with his father, and knowing that in order to move forward in his theory, he needs to betray his father, whom he loves. So there's that dynamic there that I thought worked really well, and also some notable mentions of Tommi Korpela playing Amo, and Rauno Jovanen playing Piaplanen. I'm really pronouncing these terribly. This is Finland. It's not my native tongue. Sorry about that. But ultimately, you had 4 principal characters, and I thought that they all worked very, very well and were very well acted. The technical, I gave a 20 out of 25. This was overall fantastic. The tone and the feel of the film, it had very little to do with special effects and way more to do with camera work and color palettes and the visual storytelling, the direction and the photography really came together to make this well, like I said, it treated it with reverence, and it felt real, and I think that owes a lot to the technical category as well. So when they did add some special effects, the CG wasn't that great, but it's very sparing, so there's not a whole lot for me to criticize on that. With the makeup effects and the body effects and so forth, I thought were all very on point, felt very grisly, felt very real, and I loved it. So all told, wrapping all of the technical up, I think we landed at a point score of 20 out of 25, which gives us an 83 out of 100. I loved this movie, and I would say that it is my second favorite Christmas horror film, and I'm leaving my first favorite to the 25th. That's going to be the last door of the Advent calendar, and I'm going to keep it a secret what that is until the time comes. But this is my second favorite Christmas horror film, and it is one that I recommend to everybody that can possibly watch it. Yes, it is subtitled, and I know that can be a sticking point for some people. I really, really recommend that you at least try. If you can get over that, and you can bear with the subtitles, there is some fantastic storytelling happening here. A playful twist about 3/4 of the way through that I loved. I thought it was amazing the way that they fleshed that out. Just some really great imagination, fun, down-to-earth characters and family dynamics that all told. It's an amazing present to unwrap. That's pretty much how I feel about it. So that's the 2010 movie Rare Exports, A Christmas Tale from Finland. I really thank you for joining me here today. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And remember, next time you want to watch a horror movie, first make sure that it's good and rotted.